Oh, there's a gap. This is a gap, I swear.
Alright, Koos, I'm ready to go if you are. I seem to have lost you in Streamlabs. You good over there? Koos? Alright, technical difficulties, folks. Give it a second. The guest was going to be Tag Prof, was the plan. But, I mean, we had to bump him. Boring night at games? You could say that.
I good.
Alright, you good? Alright, let me make sure I can see you on, I don't have you on the Streamlabs cam. Yeah, I guess while we're waiting for Koos, how about that Team S game last night? Anyone see that? I really don't want to get started unless Koos is here. Hey, that's true. Bandwatch is in effect.
Wait, I had you muted.
Yeah, what'd you do that for?
No idea. I can't tell where I'm supposed to be listening to you from.
Well, so I don't have you in the Streamlabs thing. So do you have that link open still or no?
I do. Where do I
Could
need
you
a new
try
one?
it again?
Oh,
Like
yeah, I'll
close
leave
out
and
and
come back.
reset it.
Yeah, here we go.
That'll work. There he is.
Yeah, there we go.
Got it.
Well,
deep breath, Goose. Deep breath.
other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the
I
play?
mean, I guess let me start here. So, quick recap. I think everyone's up to date, but we'll recap it briefly.
This is as of 11:04 p.m. Eastern Time, and subject to change.
That's right. So, Wave Pains versus I honestly forgot who they're even playing. The Furblowers tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, Taurus apparently had a restriction from 5/19 to somewhere in the beginning of June.
Which obviously, is today, yes.
5/19 is tonight.
Yeah.
No one realized that until after Game 4. So they played 4 games. Wave Pains took 3 of those before anyone noticed. Prior to Game 5, I don't know who noticed, someone notices. And now they start talking about, well, you need to either replay the series or you have to forfeit. And at this point, Wade Payne says, we're not doing any of that. We can play Game 5 or we're just leaving. About 5 minutes later, they just leave. So they're entirely gone. So now Bam, Timmy, who are the online CRC members, they come online. I'm able to hop in a call with them and Button. The upshot of that call was that the CRC had been willing to allow Way of Pains to play Game 5 with Taurus and deal with the restriction later, but at this point, it was too late. Way of Pains was gone. I think half of the Furblowers were gone at this point, so no chance Game 5 gets played.
Not right now, at least.
Yep, so that had been the CRC preference, which I agree with. So now this is where it gets interesting, and this was where it devolved into a bunch of what ifs from Button to Bam and Timmy. Here are the what ifs. What if Taurus is gone forever? Because he seemed very frustrated. The message Button was getting from him was that he was not coming back regardless. Now, this is all heat of the moment. I don't want to hold him to anything, but that's the message that Button seemed to have received. The second what if, we've seen it in chat and Miner's discussion, what if the entirety of Way of Pains quits and does not come back? I don't even know what to say. I was trying to think, we're both sports people, right? I was trying to think of like real life analogs. What immediately came to mind was the Marshall team.
You mean like from the movie?
Yeah, from the movie. And then if this might be, you might know this one better. The locomotive plane crash from the KHL.
Oh, that too. Yeah. That's a little niche for
niche
the audience,
but that was the analog. So Way of Pains essentially is dead in this situation. And I'm curious to maybe talk about the potentials for if any of those things come to pass. But I guess initial reaction from you.
You know, I'm of two minds on this. I mean, first off, the most of that Way of Pains team threatening to quit is a little over the top and a little childish, and it's just, you get over yourselves a little bit, right? The CRC should allow for some wiggle room, and I think that the solution that I had that I've heard other people mention is you just shift the restriction back a week, so he's out for the same amount of time. Furballers aren't really affected all that much because they played 4 games thinking that Taurus was it. I mean, first of all, Furballers should have seen this before the game started and said, "Hey, why is Taurus playing? He's restricted the week we play him. If one of my opponents is on that restricted list before I play them, I'm checking that shit out. I'm
Yep.
looking at it. I'm paying attention. This is on all 8 players in the game plus the 2 captains. My blame initially lies with them. Um, I think the very easy solution that is amenable for everybody and should be, kind of welcomed, I guess, by everybody involved is, hey, Taurus, you missed. We'll play your game 5. We'll get that fixed up. But since you were supposed to miss this week, and at the 7-week season we want to move it along, you got to miss another week somewhere in there. And then that gets rid of this idea that, oh, Taurus misses 3 weeks actually if he doesn't get to play tonight because they want to forfeit and change it in do-overs. Like, forfeits and do-overs, they had their place, but with this point of where we're at in the game, I just don't think it's not the right solution. What did I write down about this?
Well, let me jump in real quickly. I think the tragedy of it all was that I think like the right decision had been come to in that call with Budden and Timmy and Bam. The correct decision was just to play the game 5. It just came like 20 minutes late, and that's
Sure.
It's not their fault. But the damage had been done in that 20-30 minutes. But they could have played game 5. They'd be done with game 5 by now, and then we could deal with the restriction later. You know.
This was how Mumble was better because information got out slower back then. So the thing I wrote down in my doc about this is the kind of stuff that makes me personally not want to do content. Like, this is not why people pay attention to this competitive version of the game still. I mean, think about where we're at, and it's been 8 years, 10 years, 9 years, whatever it is. This is not what people sign up for, and it's not what the CRC signs up for, is to get, bashed in because I thought I saw Spearoid was telling Bam, like, oh, how did you not see this? How did you not tell us what was going on? It's like, a CRC member is not supposed to be checking. Maybe in the past it was one of those things where you should say, hey, someone's got to be on and someone's got to be able to react right away. But a CRC member, the job description does not say, hey, you've got to pay attention every single series, and otherwise you're not doing a great job.
I agree with that. I don't blame the CRC at all. I will push back, and I know Beast is giving you some
I'm not
some
paying
heck in
attention to
chat
chat.
here.
Sorry, I don't have chat open.
I would agree. The CRC's not at fault here. I do disagree that this is not what we do this for. I mean, we think back to the Poet Papers. My first season I played, Freak got dots by Blue Jays. I mean, we've got a long, rich history of drama, and it's
his
so
phone
good.
number was still on a stream somewhere. I'm pretty sure his parents' phone number is on a stream somewhere.
I think so. Not even Hadler? I mean, that's classic, dude.
So, I don't know. The only thing that I worry about is, we only have so much time with this game left, I think, in general. It does maybe kind of give the impression that some team can be kind of whiny and get what they want as a result. I don't know, just this idea of, Bubbles water streamed, I think. TBD, TBH. It's just, I get what you're saying. It's just, personally, I'm like, can we stop with this stuff? I mean, most of us involved here are adults by this point. We should know better and not be all like, I'm quitting the league because I got inconvenienced slightly for 50 minutes on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Like, life is short, people. Let's let some of the small stuff slide. That includes, you were supposed to be out. You weren't supposed to be playing this week, Taurus. That's okay. We'll just get you out of there next week, and it'll be fine. And I'm pretty sure everyone involved agrees with that. Way of Pings probably agrees to that, if one had to guess.
I think so too. And we'll see. Spheroid, we talked last week how he can be a little insufferable, but I think give it 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Just give it 24 hours and see how people feel then.
We'll know more.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it just sucks because the game 5 could have been played. and it was
And
the
it probably should
decision
have
was
gone
just
ahead.
made like 20 minutes late. Unfortunately,
I'd say worst case they should have said, "Oh, we want to get out of here and not have to, because the other thing that happens a lot of times, and I'm sure everyone's been touched by this that has gone back, and I remember the old days of NLTP where you had to sit around and wait a little bit for certain
yes, for sure.
certain decisions. The idea should be to play and then ask for forgiveness later. I mean, you can always throw a game out, but the problem becomes waiting. That, gosh, I remember. It's so tough to remember because it's all in the slosh of time. But gosh, you have to wait on 20 or 30 minutes for some decision to get made, and you're sitting there thinking, there's got to be a better use of my time than sitting on the waiting screen, the loading screen. I don't know. It's a bummer that this happens this way, and I think let's just hope that the time kind of papers over the deep wounds, so to speak.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing. Beast Mode just pinned a message from Tag Prof in chat. Ugh. Unrelated. I just thought that was funny.
It's my guy Beast Mode.
Yeah, that's my guy. Yeah, I don't know if I have much more to say about it. I will just comment. Bam has a great, like, I don't know if he's a manager in real life. He's got a great manager voice. Like the terminology, the way he speaks, really good. He leads teams for a living, I guarantee it.
Cell, I'm responding to you in MLTP General because this is my 5th favorite T-shirt here. This is from the Bear. If people get the Easter egg spoiler out of season 2 episode, I think it's episode 1. The shirts will I'll tell you which one it is in my rotation before each week starts. How about that? Yeah, I don't know what else you want me to say about it. I'm of the mind that you play Game 5, let the chips fall where they may.
I'm inclined.
But you want to talk about the first 4 games, just in case there's something interesting that, in case some good comes out of it.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would like to talk. I was taking notes all night, and then this popped up. But I had so much to say about this series. Can I just raise my hand? Thank you. Spheroid and Motomoto, did I tell you that was going to be a good offense? They couldn't. They were out of base constantly.
Way of Pain Denier right here. That was a good job out of them. I played a scrim in place of Spheroid on like Wednesday night of last week, and my heart dropped because I'm like, oh no, this is gonna go really poorly. And you know what? I'm eating my words. I'm hoping a lot of other people are too, because at 9:44 Eastern, I wrote down as one of our potential overreactions for later in the show, Way of Pink's not just a playoff team, but a Mooper contender?
Well, I mean, let's save that for the hot take segment at the end. When I'll say this,
the timing was perfect on it.
We'll get to.
They could be in good shape if they play a little bit more like a team and kind of optimize the opportunities they get. They'll be just fine. That is, if they end up playing any more games this season.
Yes, with that caveat, where I'm gonna push back against myself a little bit. The concerns that we also brought up last week with Furballers, like, I don't think the defense was any good. Now, I don't think any defense was good on Jardim tonight, so it's hard to know how much to blame them. They actually looked pretty good on Moonbase, and who knows what Game 5 would have looked like. But that defense on Jardim was really bad, and it's hard to know how much credit to give Spheroid and Motomoto with how poorly the defense for Furballers was playing. And like, I go back to watch TMS versus FWO last night, and like, comparing the 2 game films, it's like it just
playing a different game a little bit.
It is a little bit. It feels like they're on a higher level. TMS versus FWO, even though Spheroid and Motomoto are out all the time and they're piling up caps and doing all this, you can just see it's like it's not quite that level. So it's almost like we were watching like I hate to say like a 5 versus 7, not a 1 versus 3, if that makes any sense.
No, and I did think Furballers was kind of part of that glob of teams towards the bottom. Like, there was no... Okay, before the season started, I thought Way of Pings was the clear bottom, but then there was kind of everything else mishmashed in there somewhere. Yeah, I can I watched that game and I go, I think we got some interesting stuff in there. I'm
I
not
really
gonna.
do hope
I don't want to take too much out of 40 minutes because we had a lot of season left. But we'll see. There are definitely some things they got to get fixed up from both sides, I'd say, because personally I thought Way of Pings could have scored a few more caps if they're playing more like a team in certain individual spots, and it kind of gets me into Mad Splatters because that was when did they even play? Was that last night?
Yes, last night. Yep.
Okay, well, I was not watching that one live. I'm glad someone recorded it. Also, MC Ride, good music choices.
Agreed.
There was some good stuff in there. I had to hit the Shazam a few times.
My last notes on this Way of Pain's Furballer series, I had CT show in all caps. Game 1 on Jordan, he was electric. It was that
flag
like
was there.
it was that same conversation we had. He had to be the carry guy to me, and in parts of this series he was that. So
no.
something to look for.
We know we're getting out of him.
Yep.
And I think the way he tries to juke kind of plays pretty well at the minors level, if that makes sense.
It does. One
So
other
we'll see.
note, I had anti on Moonbase for Furballers kind of turned the tide for them. And then we saw a lot of offense from their defense, and then CT Crunch on Moonbase in particular, I thought played really well.
Speaking of anti, I think both teams in FWO and Mad Splatters should have played more anti.
Well, and that's an interesting conversation, and we don't really have to get into it, but since No Kiss has been implemented, anti's kind of fallen off the priority list.
Yeah, but I just think even even with the maps that got played this week, I still think there's a lot of value. Maybe not so much in Moonbase because you can just run to mid and play around and dance out there.
Yep.
But I still think there's something to be said for just saying F it to regrab, playing ahead, and then just still trying to go and get the return. Just because a lot of these games turn into, okay, who's the first team that can get out? And then it's 7 or 8 minutes of both teams are out, both teams are holding, pups are coming up. Maybe you get lucky and get a cap or two off of like a random reset, but these teams just aren't keeping resets very long.
It's true.
My Mad Splatters comments. Definitely pretty impressed with FWO.
I will echo that.
The defense seems like a kind of boom or bust type situation, right? Where when they're on, they're keeping you in for quite a while, and then when you're on or when things just aren't quite clicking for them, you can kind of hold for a little while, right?
Yep.
For me, Mad Splatters, and it's good to see that they weren't stepping out right out of the bat and crushing everybody, right? I think that's a good sign for where the league's at and how everyone drafted. The first thing that kind of stood out to me from watching was that Mad Splatters were just kind of making the misplays at the wrong time in the wrong place. Like they'd grab and die in a base in the way that you could, like the FWO defense would just be set up perfectly for their blocks. And so the skill that people don't really talk about so much in this game, that maybe it's a skill just to me and no one else, but like knowing how to die.
Yep.
Right? Can you buy your team some space, just like even a couple pixels? And sometimes that really can, not only does that help you avoid caps, but it can also turn into opportunities if you can die in the right spot at the right time. It's not like I saw them like submarining their own grabs and like dying and just costing themselves caps, but like they're right on that precipice of being pretty good.
Yeah. I'm gonna pile on TMS a little bit just because they were such a huge favorite for me. Mm-hmm. Give props to FWO. But what concerned me about TMS was I thought pound for pound mechanically, FWO was matching them, and in a lot of cases better, and that was concerning to me. I mean, no disrespect to Pass and Dolph. Like, I'd say Marcus is the only guy I thought, yeah, he's gonna out mechanic some people.
Hmm.
I mean, it was across the board. It felt like they were throwing punches mechanically. And when you
Sure.
got Russ, Irony, Goat, and like, I don't think that should happen. So I mean, that
No,
concerned me a little bit.
are we maybe just buying into this idea that, oh, because we know who their names are and we know that like that they've got this track record, that they're automatically going to be, far head and shoulders above every single team they play against.
You know,
Maybe we just kind of fell into that trap a little bit. Um, I think, I don't know if they'd tell you, but maybe Matt Splitters are reading every 5 out of 6 power ratings, going, oh yep, clear #1 team, and then there's just kind of,
I was gonna say that
we're
maybe they
fine.
were
We
feeling
don't
themselves a
we can
little
play
bit.
it. We can play a certain way, and we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. But Goat holds for 3 minutes in their OT win. I think that was game 2. So I mean, clearly their individual players are good. It just was such a surprise to me to see how even the mechanics were. And then, man, I thought, I think you watched the game and you're like, oh, Logi kind of sucked on defense. And then you watch it a little closer and it's like Russ is doing him zero favors. Zero favors. I've marked like 3 or 4 plays on Jardim where Russ is just like leaving Logi on an island, and all due respect to Logi, he's not going to play 1v1 defense on Jardim. Hard enough to do in general, let alone when it's Logi. And then there's one horrible play where Russ bombs at a 4-minute mark in game 2. He has 2 teammates fighting for Tag Pro left side. He kills both of his teammates with that bomb. Kills Logi who's the FC with the bomb, and puts himself behind. And Marcus just strolls in for a cap. And it's like we thought this team was gonna be the smart team. We thought they were gonna be disciplined.
Yeah, that was the one that I remember like specifically bringing that up into I saw that play and I saw plays like that. I'm like, oh wait a second, what did I just say at the start of the season?
Yes. And like that's another thing that concerns me. So not only are they mechanically maybe even with some of these other teams, well, man, maybe they're not all that smart either. You know?
You never know.
And then it made me start to think, like, okay, so why is that happening? Like, why are these weird situations happening? And then I'm like going through the team in my head, and I'm like, Logi doesn't talk any. I played with Russ. He talks, but he doesn't talk well. I played with Irony. He doesn't talk. Goat, I think, talks with a Boston accent, though, so thick no one can understand him. So I wonder what the comms are on this team.
It's good vibes. Good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes for sure. I just don't know if they're saying anything. So I'm just like really overreacting here. I've lost a lot of faith in like 24 hours. It's not good.
I don't think we want to turn this into a Mad Splatters review show. I feel like we went heavy on him in week 1, and I don't want to. Yeah. The other thing too is, are we gonna call out every single 50 swag coin player making misplays the way Russ did? Because I mean, just because you drafted high, the good comes with the bad, right? With some of these high tag coin players. Think about like the way I play. People may not know. Like my KD is horrible. I've gone negative in halves and still been like a very good contributor, because I'll get like a 1 cap out of 5 grabs and then like 12 returns. Like, I don't know, you just you get a whole kind of package with a player and see what happens.
Yeah, rein me in. There you go. Just rein me in. To Russ's point, they did win. They got 8 out of 15 points.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's better than losing. It just
and for now, it's better than. And think about it this way: they've got all 4 of their players intact and are planning on playing in week 2.
And I'm just to maybe put a button on it. Excited to see FWO the rest of the way.
Yeah, no, Dolphin pass. I think we may have said, I don't know exactly what we're gonna get out of those 2 at this level. Well, I think they can handle themselves, definitely.
Agreed. All right. Anything else on TMS or FWO?
No, and I hate what we're gonna do with these last 2 games, because I think we were so in way of Ping's reaction mode that I did write down some notes, but I just wasn't locked in 100% on both these. HGB good late. They went 31-20 aggregate. OPH had Beast in for Pete, and I think they had Selfie and A-Dog on O. Does that make sense? Am I thinking
Sophie
about that
Beast
right?
on no, surely.
Yeah. Well, no, because I saw Beast on D plenty.
Well, I've got my notes here. OPH struggled on Jordan. That might have something to do with it. Beast D confirmed from Sophie.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
I thought.
surprised by that.
Because Beast is quite dreadful at defense, I must say. Uh, who knows? Maybe, like I said, we weren't in there, so. I thought HGB trolled us at game one. It didn't really matter because of I saw like an 8-1 score line, and then there was still 3 minutes left, and then
Yep.
you're like, oh, what's going on here? HGB looks solid. I'm excited to see what their deal is going forward here.
And I want to tie this in to the whole Jordan discussion. So I don't know. It felt like no one played good on Jordan defensively. And you talk about the 8 whatever game. I think game 3 on Jordan
Well,
for this
there was a
series was
10-2
also
in
like
there somewhere. There was a couple. I saw a couple teams in double digits. Was that on Moonbase or was that on Jardum? I think somebody hit 10 on Jardum. Couldn't remember
Wave
who or
Pains
where.
had a bid score on Jordan.
Yeah, 9-1. There was a 9-1 for that one. Yeah.
And then we go to Moonbase, and I'm sorry, this is kind of where I dropped off watching the series, but we go to Moonbase, and now things normalize a little bit, and the teams you expect to win, it's not as much of a differential as those Jordan games were, and I'm not sure why. I know it's been a little while since we played Jordan and competitive, but it feels like it hasn't been that long.
Not long by any stretch.
So I'm just kind of shocked that people are having so much trouble. It felt like every defense tonight just really struggled on it.
I don't know. I think sometimes I still think I just can't quite figure out how I want to play defense on Jardum sometimes, right? And it's only been around for the longest freaking time ever. It's just I think offense is just easier to play on that map when the defense does not have timers. If the defense has timers, I freaking played Joy a couple weeks ago with timers on that map, and it's just it's like you can't grab.
Yeah.
You can't grab without timers. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I think. Do we think as a whole the offense is ahead of the defense in this league? I'd say probably.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
I mean, just when you think like, okay, D carries. We'll get to that, but we'll start with O carries. Balls to you, tag prof, CT crunch,
Yep. Selfie.
I mean, the list kind of just goes on and on. Joy, you had timers on in a Jardum game a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't even get a grab off because of the pass. Because of the damn timers. It's just you can't play offense without timers on that map, in ranked at least. And then you get to the D carry balls, and you're like, good players, but are they botting people? Or I think a lot of these defenses you need 2 containers.
Yeah,
Or
I don't
like
think
some
I
kind
saw
of some crazy stuff going on with the flag carriers and the kissing and the, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep, I agree.
like you just need to kind of create your own deaths a little. It's just harder to do on some of those maps. Like a lot of what I saw tonight was like FCs getting trying to get their own returns somewhat by boosting guys around, or playing around the pup areas and getting kills that way, just with the gates involved.
I don't know if I have much to add. So do you know the final series score for OPH at HGB? What that ended up
4-1
in favor of OPH, right?
In favor of HGB.
Oh, really? Oh,
does someone want to back me up on that? Oh,
3-2 HGB.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess any
Sorry,
surprises
we were
with
gonna
the
have Tag
result?
Prof on. That was a big reveal that we had to
Yes.
skip out for the drama.
We'll get him on next time, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess if I just want to refer back to the power rankings from last week, I had HGB as the top 2, I think second, right? And OPH kind of middle of the pack. They've certainly made an argument that they're on HGB's tier. I mean, especially when you have B subbing in on defense.
Yeah, I mean that kind of makes your team quite a bit worse. Sorry to say, but like going to Beast on D versus like you get A Dog back in his normal position, and then Pete in there normally. Um, the A-Dog looked pretty good from what I saw. I mean,
Yep.
it was only bits and pieces, but I'm glad to see glad to see the young lad getting back in and getting up to speed. I think a lot of the players that came back in after longer time off, Moto,
Mm-hmm.
Josh. I mean, we're seeing some good stuff.
Agreed.
Uh, uh, this note it was gonna be at the top of the show, but because there were so many of these players involved with this in this game, I think my suggestion for the league for future seasons is name changes should be subject to a public vote
Which one in
because
particular do you not like?
take your pick.
What do you mean?
I don't know, Tag Prof,
Oh, he's been
Vic,
King
Vic,
Cruel for years.
Vic to Alpha Jr. I'm just saying no one's turning down me changing my name to Youngway Coos for a season if we were going to do that. But a lot
This
of
is
people are
coming
voting down.
from
A lot of people.
Custanza,
Oh God.
Coos, Incandenza,
Tag
Coos
Prof on this
Smiley
one.
Face.
Tag Prof on this one. Horse Star Clock in the LeBron James fashion. Oh, horse clock! What a time that was.
Oh man.
I just think it would cut down on some of these terrible changes in terms of names.
All right.
Good old horse clock.
Last series was LBT versus the Pingo Pig. This one I really didn't get to see much of. The only note I've got is balls to use the GOAT because I think he held for 3 minutes in game one. That kind of feels like the story of the Pingo Pig to me.
The way they're gonna have to play this season is bide your time, get cap opportunities for BTY, and just get a little active in terms of can you be creative? Can you create those opportunities without getting stuck, like losing your regrab chain because you're blocking in mid form or stuff like that? I think that's what they need. I mean, not to say that P-Wings can't handle the flag or that Bubbles isn't going to be able to go get returns on his own. I think that's not necessarily the issue so much as like you've got to play your team's strengths. I came out of this really thinking good things about LBT because they won the middle 3 games there, and there's just no obvious weak links. I mean, I mentioned that last week when you take Borges as your 4th ball, I think you start from a better place than a handful of teams do now. I will say some of those teams that I saw those 4th balls, I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen with those guys? A few of them played pretty well tonight, so no way to know for sure. I just think we get a little bit more parity than we thought there might have been heading into tonight, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, I want to overreact to week 1. I also don't want to. I mean, we'll see. I think we get a much clearer picture, right? Week 3, week 4, which is a kind of a cop out. But as these teams
I think
start
even
to play
next
each
week,
other,
because then you get at least it's double the data, and then teams hopefully have kind of picked up on some of the things they aren't doing right,
yep.
and check some VODs and go from there. I will say Pingo Pig kind of went and did Pingo Pig things late in the 3rd game because I think they were up and LBT kind of turned it around and took like 5 of the last 7 caps, and you're like, okay, here comes the tilt. But they hung in and did a decent job and got some points out. I think a lot of these teams, the key is just going to be, like I said last week, is getting 2 wins out of weeks where they're just not at their best.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams that can rack up these 5-0s and 4-1s early on in the season really does a good thing for your job in the standings, because I think a lot of them are going to be kind of tightly packed in certain sections.
Tinder would like to clarify that he outheld Balls to you in game 1. I actually did not notice that, but congratulations. And then
Tinder is an even larger goat.
I've got to give some props to Squeeb, I suppose. Played passively from the one game I watched.
Yeah, Selfie. Yeah. Yeah, your hate fest. We got to keep an eye on that for the rest of the season. And I'm just glad we were able to stake your reputation on Way of Ping's offense, and it paid off for you.
I mean,
I remember you saying you're gonna stake your reputation on it. And you get a lot of feedback from that.
And if they all goes, we kind of have to take it as it was week 1.
Yeah, do we void it? I guess do we void it?
I think I just mark that off as a yes, and I'll take the credit for it, and we'll move on.
Is anyone reading Miner's discussion? Do we know if the way of pings are Dunzo? I can't quite tell.
I've
It's a
not
lot
been
of
checking.
it's a lot of shouting into the void.
That's how it normally goes. Again, I think give it 24 hours and see if cooler heads prevail after they've had a good night's sleep.
Yeah. Luckily, we're not on so late like we were last time. Of course, we're still on at 11:30 at night, but you know.
To Sophie's point, and this was something that I had actually wanted to try to get done. Do you have an overarching hot take from week 1?
My hot take was at 9:44 Eastern when I said Way of Pings, everyone's calling them their last place team, and then they have an impressive first week, and I go, not just a playoff team, but Mooper contender.
It's hot, dude. It's really hot.
And then the other thing was, you know, oh, Taurus doesn't even know the rules about kissing, and they're still solid. That's a scary proposition. And then,
Yeah, well, that's the joke I
what the
made
hell do
after
you
he
know?
posted that. I'm like, the potential on this team's sky high. He doesn't even know how to play the game, and they're up 3-0 in the series.
Yeah, yeah, I was curious if people had if people Beast, I'm right there with you. You know, he says, can we acknowledge that 519 isn't between 519 and 6-2? I was gonna say this is a good technicality because you could say the games that are right in between those two, like okay, from 520 to 6-1, you're done, son.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a good idea, just as a very pedantic rule following idea. Do people have overreactions that you want us to react to in the chat?
Yeah, please chat, share something.
If you
I'll
watch
share
the
mine
games,
while we're
we'll solicit
waiting.
some questions. Yes, I wanna grade them on a scale of 1 spicy take to 5 spicy takes.
How many chili peppers is it?
Mm-hmm.
My take is Marcus has grown a brand, which shocks me.
I'd have to watch. I still think he was, rolling around a little bit.
That was the best, and I'm gonna lean on my previous captain experience with him. That was the best I've seen him look ever. I mean, ever. I think playing defense is really almost just like unlocked him because it's not just mindless flag carrying anymore. He's like able to transition from defense into occasionally carrying the flag on offense. I think, and he's going for power ups. Like his pup fights last night were fantastic. He's in the right spot, and then when he does need to make a mechanical play, he does. I mean, I think he's incredible right now.
Is it the Dolph effect? I never thought I'd say that in the first week of the season.
It could,
Is it the
could
Dolph
be.
effect?
I like Dolph a lot.
Do people? I'm personally, I've never been in a game with him. Does he chat? Does he have a good comms? Anyone?
I played a tourney with him once. I don't recall. I'll be honest
I feel
with
like he
you.
used to be no mic back in the day for whatever reason. I could be wrong. I would give that 2 spicy takes because, there's always that possibility that he loses the brain in the future.
Is this a Wizard of Oz scarecrow situation? If only
Yeah,
I
you
had
never
a
know.
brain.
But I would say, it's very possible. And frankly, I mean, the way I thought, I was very nervous for that series, that it was just going to be a bloodbath, and I think that it's not. Says quite a bit about both sides.
Chat's kind of quiet, which surprises me.
They're busy reading Spheroid.
They probably are. Do you want to touch on week 2 briefly?
Yeah. Do we have a schedule?
Is out.
Let me check. Let me get a little. What do you call that in there? Where even is the hub these days? Here we go.
I can give you some interesting matchups that I've got my eyes on. Mads Bladders. I want to see
how many of them involve Way of Pings. We still don't know if we could be looking at a 3-game week for the first time in Tag Pro history.
Yeah, I don't want to. I hate to even speculate what we'll run into there. But I want to see TMS versus Furballers. I think that'll be good. And then OPH versus FWO seems like a banger to me.
That one seems like the most even, probably.
Yeah.
Of the week in terms of, could you see some real stuff going down there in terms of who that's a good question that I just came up with in my head. who was playing the best tag pro the entire weekend? Was it, Way of Pings technically?
See, and this is where we get back to like I thought they were playing at a lower tier, even though they were winning by a bunch. I don't
I don't
think they
know.
were
They
playing the
made it
best
look
tech,
pretty
but
easy though. I
I
think they made
honestly
it look.
think FWO's in the conversation. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
guess you put
just
TMS in there.
because they maybe raised their game to that level.
Yeah, I keep framing it like TMS lost. They won the series.
It's
But
just if FWO did win on aggregate.
yeah, just
Because all
expectations
TMS's
wise, I
wins
thought they
were.
were really good, and I thought that series yesterday night was like so much higher level than a lot of the stuff we saw tonight.
Yeah, I think a lot of these teams have things that they can clean up. Hopefully, that's my goal because for as much fun as it is to have it back and like have the games back, some of it wasn't exactly perfect. Tag Pro, and you can't really expect that from this group of players. They're good players, but after 1 week, it's hard to be perfect. But definitely some things for everyone to clean up. I think they'd be the first ones to tell you, which is a good sign. Um, yeah, I don't know. If you look at Ping Opaque versus HGB, I'd say HGB's got to be the favorites there.
I would agree.
And then, depending on what kind of a lineup we see from Way of Pings, that could be a pretty interesting series too with them within LBT. Because I think LBT, as much as they did right tonight, um, Ping Opaque is still finding their way. Is just still kind of figuring things out, and they did only beat TPO by one cap on aggregate score as well. So I don't know. I'm excited that we get these games back. It's very fun to me when you get the multi switch rolling
Yes, 100%.
and you get some red zone.
I did hear. I guess I'll speculate briefly. I did hear that one of the potential options, should Taurus be gone, is that Button DEPs for his own team. Nothing
I
confirmed, but
I haven't seen Torres say he's done.
that's the message that
I
Button
must have
seems
missed
to have
that.
received. We'll see, but that'd be interesting. Obviously, Button's a fairly good
Yeah,
defender.
and I think there are some OOL capabilities too, just because
Yep.
anytime it's a top player like that, you never know what can happen. Pass and Gamma are DEPs.
If you had to make an out of league team for all four of them, what lineup would you come up with?
What did I see? I saw a good one in. I think I came up with it. It was me and Yes on O, and then Flaccid and someone else on D. But that might be a little too good.
I think that's probably a little strong. Although Yes or No brings you down a notch.
Yeah, so it was me on O technically.
Oh, you're an offender at heart. That one novice season you had, were you on offense with Skippy and Sadness?
Yeah, but that was because Sadness and I just you couldn't pay us not to get out because the people were just let's just say there was some bump grabbing going on.
No.
What could you do? I wouldn't mind seeing. Let's see who's still. I guess do we know when the novice draft is? The upcoming
For
like
2
tomorrow
days
night or
from
something?
now, Friday. Well, not. I guess that's Wednesday. I'm sorry. I've lost track of time.
You could. That's a weird. Yeah, it just depends on which one of them are willing to play. First off, and then, you kind of have to scramble and fill those in from there.
It'd be such an interesting situation. I just can't get that thought of what the Marshall football team out of my head if the entire team goes. It's just so perfect to me.
I don't condone it. I don't condone the idea of opting out. I know it's a bummer that you waste this time in game one like this after and especially when you don't like the options you get. I think both sides have to see the reason of like, let's just be smart. Let's not do anything dumb. Let's let those 4 games stand. Let's let the 5th game stand, and then you push it back. You could almost say, hey, here's your issue. Week 7, most important game of the season probably. You got to miss 2 games out of that or something like that.
True.
You know, just to say, hey, you really shouldn't have done this. And why can't all these people just know? Like, you got to be able to know. Like, if I signed up and I was restricted for any week, I'd be very upfront about it with my captain.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I saw Spirit saying earlier that this was the first time that they've done restrictions this way. I don't remember that being the case.
Well, I don't know particularly what he's. I think what he's referring to is this public declaration of restrictions, and then if you want to change, you message a CRC member. I assume that's what he's referring to. That's true. That's not how it was done previously. For the last however long it's been, you sign up, a CRC member reaches out to confirm your restriction. Your restriction gets confirmed to the captains. This has been a slightly different process.
Yeah, I remember. This will be good
The-
for
Oh, the date-specific restrictions is what he's saying. Or chat's saying. Sure.
I
But
think
effectively, it's a minutes restriction, though.
I think any of us who go back into the old days of like 2015, 16, 17, people will remember the good old like LeBron okay then boats and holds restriction game where LeBron was missing except for the playoffs, and okay then was missing the regular, like the
Yes.
combination of the two of them.
Yes.
it was great because LeBron was taking salsa lessons.
Well, we saw that with gosh, was that the kneecapper season? It was Flaccid and Catpete did the same thing. Flaccid played the regular season and Catpete subbed in for the playoffs.
Was that how that? I thought they were on the same team. Or was it the season after those two were on the same team? There was a great season where it was Flaccid and Capuke on the same team the whole season.
I don't recall, but I believe that same scenario has happened a couple of different times.
And Water makes up a good point, is that you can reschedule if you wanted to play those games. I think frankly they should try to play that game 5 on June 2nd or whatever it is, June 3rd. I don't care. I mean,
I just keep going back to the fact that it could have been played tonight. I mean, it was all cleared to be played tonight.
Like I said, I think in the future this should be the way to tell it is play the game, and if there's a problem afterwards, you deal with it then. Because
Agreed.
Because there are worse things. Do I got you still? Do I hear you?
Yeah, I got you. I don't see you though.
Hello?
I got you.
Oh,
You're good.
You're back. I just think there are worse things in the world. Like you can play the game and then deal with the consequences after. You can always toss games out of the record, so to speak.
Yep.
And Joy, you're wrong because Boop is 10 times the player you are have ever been. I'm high as one of my most underappreciated goats of this game. I'm High was insanely good.
That's a name I remember the name now. That's a throwback.
Before we go,
yes,
I want one quick thing from you.
Okay.
And people, we can have discussions on your answers for next week. What is your underrated snack that flies below the radar? Like not a name brand so much, but like one that is nationally available.
Is this a cliffhanger? You want my answer?
Are you a snacker? I'm curious. Well, no, just because I was gonna celebrate the first week with my new favorite thing, which is the Trader Joe's black and white cookie.
Interesting. I've had them. I like them.
The Half Moon.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge snacker.
No.
No. Normally, if I do snack, it's whatever chips my wife's bought. So we had some kettle cooked barbecue chips the other night that weren't too bad. But I'm not consistently going out and buying snacks.
That's my problem. I think for as much as I like to sit there and go, oh yeah, I'll be physically active today, and then I just go and waste it by like snacking. It's not good.
No.
No, Joy, you're incorrect. If people, you need to go back into the archives and watch ball teasers against Meme Team. It's like season 10, like late in the season. He caps this way on Monarch, or no, it was a near cap on Monarch, and it's still the best play I've ever seen anyone make in this game, and it wasn't even a cap.
We can't be talking about Monarch. Jesus.
Oh, no, it was so good. I'll have to link it. I'll link it in the comments on YouTube. But
sounds good.
All right, that's enough for me for one night.
I agree. Thank you, Koos. Thanks to the viewers. Let's hope for an equally exciting week 2.
Thank you, viewers. Yeah, if we get some. Let's just get some nice normal games of Tag Pro next week.
All right. See everyone.